What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. And now we have pretty much a couple weeks now until the regular season, the NHL starts, which I'm super pumped about, and I'm sure most of you guys are as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break down my standings for each division and tell you guys where I think every team is going to rank. Now, I've already done this and I recorded this, and then some teams switched, actually only two. They ruined it for me, so now I have to retake this, which is okay. It made me change my divisions a little bit based off where the new teams are. So I'm really excited to do this. Now I will have all the teams and the divisions on the screen right now so you guys can get familiarized, and I don't have to go through and name out every single division. You guys can just see it and we'll just get going. I don't want this to take too long, so I'm gonna kind of speed through it a little bit. All right, start off with the Canadian division. In the last place, I have the Ottawa Senators. They may have made some improvements, but I just don't think it's enough. I still think they end up in last. This division, I just want to say before I continue, is probably one of the hardest. I think it's one of the closest, and I think you'll see every team just super duper close within this division, which makes it super tough. Next up, I have the Montreal Canadiens finishing second to last. I don't think the Canadiens have a bad team, just in comparison to the rest of these Canadian teams. I just don't see them going far in this division. Next up, I have the Winnipeg Jets. Also see Winnipeg finishing in the bottom three in this division. I just don't see them being better than the top four Canadian teams. It's just as simple as that. Side note before I continue on, top four teams from every division do get into the playoffs. So now we are moving into playoff teams, and we can take a look at, based off my predictions, what the first round's going to look like. So in fourth place in the Canadian division, I have the Edmonton Oilers. I think the Edmonton Oilers are an alright team. Don't think they'll be like top in this division, but they're an okay team. Third in the division, I have the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of people are underrating them. I think a lot of people have them not even making the playoffs in this Canadian division. I think that's absurd. They were the furthest Canadian team in the playoffs, and they have the most growth. Like, all those young players they had have grown. And sure, they've lost some players like Markstrom and Tanev, but I mean, they've also replaced them with like Holtby. Demko's improved. They got Nate Schmidt. I think they're an all-around better team. I think they could be potentially a better team than they were even last year. Second in the Canadian division, I have the Calgary Flames, who I think will bounce back from what they did last year. There's no way you get the same Monahan and same Goudreau that you had, plus with Markstrom playing as a number one goaltender and Chris Tanev there on defense as long as he stays healthy. They have a very solid team. And then top of the Canadian division, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are just, they're the Toronto Maple Leafs. So with that being said, that makes Toronto play Edmonton in the first round and Calgary play Vancouver. Very exciting. Next division we have here, we're going to move on to last place, and that's the LA Kings. I don't think the LA Kings improve very much, even though they get Quentin Byfield. They're still just going to be the same old LA Kings. The bottom three in this division, in my opinion, super clear. Top three, super clear. Middle is a little bit interesting. So next up, second to the bottom, I got the Anaheim Ducks, followed by the Arizona Coyotes. I think LA Kings, Anaheim, and Arizona will be your bottom three in that order right there. Just don't see those teams making much movement here and just making a big stand. What I do have, though, is in fourth place, the Minnesota Wild. Now, I don't think the Minnesota Wild make the playoffs this year. I think they barely made the playoffs, and personally, I don't think they deserve to make the playoff. Now we're moving into the playoff teams. Believe it or not, I have the San Jose Sharks fitting in the fourth spot, very last place to get into the playoffs in this division. Again, I don't think San Jose's got a good team, but they got pieces. I mean, Brent Burns, he can still play. Logan Couture, Erik Karlsson. Their goaltending is the iffy part. If they get a bounce back year in net, this team will be good. That's just the question. So I do think they make it into the playoffs barely above Minnesota. Third place, I have the St. Louis Blues, followed by Vegas, followed by Colorado. I think those last three are interchangeable, but I think this is a pretty safe bet to go St. Louis, Vegas, Colorado on top. With that being said, we'd have a San Jose, Colorado playoffs and a Vegas, St. Louis, which would be very entertaining. Next up, this one's pretty easy for the most part to figure out like a bottom team, but the middle is pretty tough. At the very bottom, I have the Detroit Red Wings, pretty self-explanatory. Next up, I have the Nashville Predators, then the Chicago Blackhawks, then the Florida Panthers. So I have the bottom four being Detroit, Nashville, Chicago, Florida. That's just how I see it being. I think the other four teams in the playoffs there are just too good for those teams. They're going to get too many wins. In the fourth spot, I have the Dallas Stars. Third spot, I have Columbus. And then in second spot, I have Carolina. And obviously, number 1, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's how I think this is going to play out. I would leave a Dallas-Tampa Bay first round. How insane would that be? That would be a recreation from the Stanley Cup final in round 1 of the playoffs. Then we'd have Carolina-Columbus, which would also be an entertaining series. Last but not least, here we are in our last division. In the bottom, I have the New Jersey Devils. I just don't see the New Jersey Devils being good this year. They have proved nothing to me as to why they will be a good team this year. No hate, just facts. Next up, second to the bottom, we got the New York Rangers. They may have gotten Alexis Lafreniere, but I still don't think they are a good team. Not yet. They need another year on Kakko, who had a really rough first year, and Laffy needs another year. Like, I think after his first year, I think he'll get around between 40 to 50 points. Then next year, once he's more comfortable in the league, you'll see a good New York Rangers. Next up, I have the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yes, I do think the Pittsburgh Penguins missed the playoffs. Them getting knocked out to the Montreal Canadiens just kind of threw me for a curveball. It makes me not know where the Pittsburgh Penguins should be. Are they still the Pittsburgh Penguins that make the playoffs easy, top of the league? Or is that proof that the Pittsburgh Penguins are falling off? It's a tough one. Then just missing out on the playoffs, I have the Buffalo Sabres. This is assuming the Buffalo Sabres decide to keep Taylor Hall past the trade deadline. I think they get close, but I do not think they make the playoffs. Now for the top 4. We got in 4th place, I got the Boston Bruins. 3rd place, New York Islanders. 2nd, the Caps. And 1st place, I have the Philadelphia Flyers. So that makes a Philly-Boston first round and an Islanders-Caps rematch in the first round, which I think is really exciting. So that is it for my season rankings. This is how I think every division is going to go. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, a lot of people are going to agree and disagree on certain things. That's fun in this, right? I don't know. I'm just trying to predict, all right? Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, let me know if you guys subscribed and hit the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what teams you think I'm way off base on or what teams you think I might have nailed. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.